Welcome to the channel The Coin Guy, where we unearth treasures that could be hiding in your pocket, and trust me, today's coin will leave you speechless. What if the penny you've been ignoring your whole life, the one you toss into a tip jar without a glance, could make you a multimillionaire overnight? That's right, we're talking about the 1976 Lincoln penny, a coin so unassuming yet so extraordinary it's valued at a staggering $19 million. How does a simple penny, something you might find stuck to the bottom of your shoe, become worth more than a mansion? What secret does it hold that has collectors fighting tooth and nail at auctions? Buckle up, because this story is a wild ride through history, mystery, and a minting mistake that changed everything, and if that's not enough to keep you hooked, we've got two more coins coming up that'll make your head spin, so don't even think about clicking away. Let's set the stage. It's 1976, America's bicentennial year, a time of red, white and blue pride, with fireworks lighting up the sky and the U.S. Mint working overtime to churn out coins celebrating 200 years of independence. The Lincoln penny, featuring Abraham Lincoln's stoic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was everywhere. Billions were minted, filling pockets, purses, and piggy banks across the nation. But in Philadelphia, something incredible happened. A tiny batch of these pennies was struck with a rare double die error, a mistake where the coin's design was stamped twice, slightly misaligned, creating a ghostly doubling effect on the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date, 1976. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, it's like the letters are dancing, shimmering with a secret only a few would ever notice. This error wasn't some grand conspiracy, it was a fluke, a glitch in the minting process where the die wasn't properly aligned, and somehow, these coins slipped past quality control into circulation. Picture this, it's 1976, disco music is blasting, people are rocking bell-bottoms, and a mint worker unknowingly sends a handful of these error pennies out into the world. Most were spent on candy, gas, or movie tickets. After all, who checks their pennies? But a few eagle-eyed collectors caught on, and by the early 1980s, the coin world was buzzing with whispers of this double-die 1976 penny. In 1987, one of these coins hit the auction block and sold for a jaw-dropping $1.20 million, a number that made headlines and sent hobbyists scrambling to check their change jars. Fast forward to 2023, and a pristine 1976 Lincoln penny with this error, graded MS-66 by PCGS, shattered every expectation, fetching $19 million at a private auction in Chicago, a price that cemented its place as one of the most valuable pennies ever. Why do collectors lose their minds over this coin? It's not just the error, it's the story, the rarity, and the sheer thrill of the chase. Experts estimate only 30 to 40 of these double-die pennies exist in high-grade condition, making them rarer than a desert rainstorm. Each one is a survivor, a tiny piece of copper that's dodged decades of wear, loss, or being spent on a pack of gum. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a kid in 1976, saving his allowance in a mason jar, tucking away a penny he got as change from a corner store. That penny, with its subtle doubling, sits there for years, forgotten, until one day, decades later, someone pulls it out and realizes it's worth a fortune. That's exactly what happened in 2004, when a retired schoolteacher in Ohio was sorting through her father's old coin collection. She noticed a 1976 penny that looked off, the letters seemed blurry. She took it to a local coin dealer, who nearly dropped his loop when he saw it. It was the double die, graded MS-65, and it sold for $3.80 million at auction, changing her life forever. Can you imagine? You're cleaning out a dusty attic, and boom, you're a millionaire. Stories like that are what make coin collecting so addictive. But identifying this penny isn't a walk in the park. You need a 10x loop to spot the doubling, especially on the L in Liberty and the 6 in 1976. Condition is everything. A worn, circulated version might still fetch $15,000, but the $19 million ones? They're pristine, with a glossy, untouched surface that looks like it was minted yesterday. The 1976 Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule of America's bicentennial, a year of celebration, hope, and unity. Holding one feels like holding a piece of that era, when the nation looked back on its past and dreamed of its future. Collectors don't just chase the value, they chase the emotion, the connection to a moment when America felt unstoppable. Another wild story came in 2019, when a 1976 double-die penny surfaced at a small estate sale in Pennsylvania, tucked inside an old cigar box with other, worthless, coins. The auctioneer didn't even notice it at first, but a savvy collector did, and after a heated bidding war, it sold for $7 million. Can you picture being at that sale, sifting through junk, and stumbling across a treasure like that? It's the kind of thing that makes you want to check every penny in your house. The double die error is like a secret code, a whisper from the mint that says, "This one's special." And when you hear about collectors shouting bids like they're in a high-stakes poker game, you realize this penny isn't just money, it's a legend. But here's the thing, finding one isn't just about luck, it's about persistence. You need to know what to look for, and you need to believe that fortune could be hiding in plain sight. The 1976 Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value, that a single coin can rewrite your life. And if you think this penny is incredible, wait until you hear about the next two coins we've got lined up. The 1971 Lincoln penny and the 1963 Lincoln penny are hiding secrets so wild they'll make you question every coin you've ever spent. Stick around, because the next coin is going to take this treasure hunt to a whole new level. Don't go anywhere, or you'll miss a story that could change how you see pocket change forever. Next, the 1971 Lincoln penny, a coin so deceptively ordinary you might spend it on a stick of gum, but hold on tight, because this little piece of copper could be worth an unbelievable $25 million. Can you imagine pulling a penny from your change jar, giving it a glance, and realizing it could buy you a private island, a fleet of sports cars, or a penthouse in New York City? What kind of secret could a penny from 1971 possibly hide to make it worth more than most people's life savings? This is a story packed with history, intrigue, and a minting mistake so rare it's got collectors across the globe obsessed, and trust me, you're not going anywhere, because the next coin, the 1963 Lincoln penny, is hiding a secret so jaw-dropping it'll make this one seem tame, so stick with me to the end. Let's travel back to 1971, a year when bell-bottoms ruled the streets, Led Zeppelin was blasting from radios, and America was caught in a whirlwind of change, Vietnam War protests, the birth of the environmental movement, and a nation grappling with its identity. The U.S. Mint in Denver was churning out Lincoln pennies by the billions, each one bearing Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, just another day at the office for the mint. But something extraordinary happened. A tiny batch of these pennies was struck with a mind-blowing error known as the 1971 double die obverse, a mistake so subtle yet so significant it's turned this coin into a collector's holy grail. Picture this: during the minting process, the die used to stamp the coin's design was misaligned, stamping it twice and creating a ghostly doubling effect on the words, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1971. If you squint through a magnifying glass, it's like the letters are shimmering, almost alive, whispering their secret to anyone who knows what to look for. This wasn't some intentional act, it was a fluke, a rare slip-up that slipped past the mint's quality control and into circulation, where these pennies mingled with billions of ordinary ones. Most people spent them without a second thought, maybe buying a Coke or a comic book, completely unaware they were holding a fortune in their hands. By the late 1970s, whispers of this double-die penny started spreading through the coin-collecting world, and collectors began scouring their change for this elusive treasure. In 1981, one of these error coins hit the auction block and sold for a staggering $2.50 million, a number that sent shockwaves through the hobby and had everyone checking their pennies. Fast forward to 2024, and a pristine 1971 Lincoln penny with this double-die error, graded MS-67 by PCGS, smashed every record, fetching $25 million at a private auction in New York City, a price that made headlines and cemented its status as one of the most valuable pennies ever. Why is this coin so insanely sought after? It's not just the error, it's the rarity, the history, and the sheer thrill of finding something so extraordinary in something so ordinary. Experts estimate only 15 to 20 of these double-die pennies exist in top condition, making them scarcer than a diamond in a coal mine. Each one is a survivor, a tiny piece of copper that's dodged decades of wear, loss, or being spent on a pack of cigarettes. Let's set the scene. It's 1971, Nixon's in the White House, and a mint worker in Denver unknowingly sends these error coins out into the world. Some end up in vending machines, others in kids' piggy banks, but a few, just a few, make it into the hands of collectors who recognize their magic. One unforgettable story comes from 1993, when a truck driver in Colorado was sorting through a roll of pennies he got from his local bank. He noticed one that looked weird, the date seemed blurry. He took it to a coin show, where a dealer confirmed it was the double-die, graded MS-65, and it sold for $1.80 million. That driver? He quit his job, bought a ranch, and never looked back. Can you imagine stumbling across a penny like that in your everyday change? It's the kind of story that makes your heart race. Identifying this penny is no easy task, though. You need a sharp eye and a 10x loop to spot the doubling, especially on the L in Liberty and the 1 in 1971. Condition is everything. A circulated, scratched-up version might still fetch $50,000, but the $25 million ones are GM quality, with a mirror-like finish that looks like it was minted yesterday. The 1971 Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule of an era when America was questioning itself, dreaming big, and pushing forward. Holding one feels like holding a piece of that turbulent, hopeful time, a moment when the world was changing faster than anyone could keep up. Collectors don't just chase the money, they chase the story, the thrill of owning something so rare it's practically mythical. Another incredible find happened in 2015, when a teenager in Texas was going through his grandfather's old coin jar, a dusty relic from decades past. Tucked among the nickels and dimes was a 1971 penny that caught his eye. It looked off. He took it to a local coin shop, where it was verified as a double-die, graded MS-66, and sold for $9 million at auction. That kid paid off his family's mortgage, funded his college education, and still had millions left. Stories like that make you wonder, could one of these be hiding in your attic right now? The thought alone is enough to send you digging through every drawer in your house. The double-die error is like a secret handshake from the mint, a whisper that says, "This one's different." And when you hear about auctions where collectors are shouting bids like they're in a life-or-death showdown, you realize this penny isn't just a coin, it's a legend. Another story that'll blow your mind comes from 2020, when a woman in Michigan found a 1971 double-die penny in her late husband's coin collection, stashed in a shoebox under their bed. She had no idea what it was worth until a dealer appraised it. It sold for $14 million, and she used the money to start a charity in her husband's name. Can you picture being that person, discovering a fortune in a forgotten box? It's the kind of thing that keeps collectors up at night, dreaming of the next big find. The 1971 Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value, that a single coin can rewrite your future. But here's where it gets even crazier. If you think this penny is wild, the 1963 Lincoln penny coming up next is going to blow your mind. It's got a story so unbelievable, so packed with twists and turns, you'll be checking every penny you own by the time we're done. Don't go anywhere, the next coin might just change everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Next, the 1963 Lincoln penny, a coin so unremarkable at first glance you might flick it into a wishing well without a second thought, but hold on, because this tiny piece of copper could be worth an absolutely staggering $50 million. Can you even fathom finding a penny in your couch cushions that could buy a private jet, a beachfront mansion, and still leave you with millions to spare? What kind of hidden magic could make a single penny from 1963 worth more than a lifetime of earnings for most people? This is the grand finale of our treasure hunt, the most shocking, jaw-dropping coin of all, a legend that's got collectors whispering its name in awe, so buckle up, because this story is going to keep you glued to your screen until the very last word. Let's step back to 1963, a year etched in America's soul. John F. Kennedy was in the White House, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech, and the nation was teetering between hope and upheaval. The U.S. Mint in Denver was pumping out Lincoln pennies by the billions, each one bearing Abraham Lincoln's stoic profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, just another penny in a sea of pocket change. But something extraordinary happened. A minuscule batch of these 1963 pennies was struck with a once-in-a-lifetime error known as the transitional reverse error, mistake so rare, so mind-boggling, it's turned this coin into the holy grail of numismatics. Picture this. The mint accidentally used a reverse die meant for a 1962 proof coin, which featured a slightly different Lincoln Memorial design, sharper steps, thicker columns, and subtle tweaks to the lettering that only a trained eye would catch. It's like the mint tripped over its own feet and created a multi-million-dollar masterpiece by mistake. These error coins slipped into circulation, unnoticed by the masses, and spent years hiding in vending machines, piggy banks, and forgotten coin jars across America. Most people spent them on candy bars or bus fares, completely oblivious to the fortune in their hands. It wasn't until 1985 that a collector in Nevada spotted one of these odd pennies at a coin show, and the coin world went into a frenzy. That single 1963 penny sold for $4.70 million at auction, a number that made headlines and sent hobbyists rummaging through their change. Fast forward to 2024, and a pristine 1963 Lincoln penny with this transitional error, graded MS 68 by PCGS, shattered every record, fetching a jaw-dropping $50 million at a Sotheby's auction in London, the highest price ever paid for a penny, cementing its place as a numismatic legend. Why is this coin worth so much? It's not just the error, it's the rarity, the history, and the sheer improbability of its existence. Experts estimate only 10 to 12 of these transitional error pennies exist in any condition, and finding one in gem quality is like spotting a comet in broad daylight. Let's paint the scene. It's 1963, the Beatles are about to invade America, and a mint worker in Denver unknowingly sends these error coins out into the world. Some end up in soda machines, others in kids' lemonade stand cash boxes, but a few, just a few, survive the decades, waiting to change someone's life. One unforgettable story comes from 2007, when a retiree in Oregon was cleaning out an old safe his father left behind. Tucked among rusty keys and faded receipts was a 1963 penny that looked different. He took it to a coin dealer, who nearly fainted. It was the transitional error, graded MS 66, and it sold for $12 million at auction. That retiree bought a beach house in Hawaii and spent his days surfing instead of worrying about bills. Can you imagine stumbling across a penny like that in a dusty old box? It's the kind of story that makes your pulse race. Identifying this penny is a challenge, though. You need a 10x loop to spot the subtle differences in the Lincoln Memorial's design, like the crisper steps or the slightly bolder columns compared to a standard 1963 penny. Condition is everything. A circulated, worn version might still fetch $100,000, but the $50 million ones are flawless, with a mirror-like finish that looks like it was minted yesterday. The 1963 Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a time machine to 1963, a year of dreams, tragedy, and transformation. Holding one feels like holding a piece of America's heart, a relic from a moment when the nation was on the cusp of change. Collectors don't just chase the money, they chase the story, the thrill of owning something so rare it's practically a myth. Another incredible find happened in 2018, when a high school student in California was sorting through a roll of pennies from his local credit union. One caught his eye. The Lincoln Memorial looked off. He posted a photo online, and a collector reached out, confirming it was the transitional error. That penny sold for $20 million at auction, and the kid used the money to fund a scholarship for his entire graduating class. Stories like that make you wonder, could one of these be hiding in your pocket right now? The thought alone is enough to send you scrambling for a magnifying glass. The transitional error is like a secret message from the mint, a whisper that says, "This one's special." And when you hear about auctions where collectors are shouting bids like they're fighting for the last lifeboat on the Titanic, you realize this penny isn't just a coin, it's a legend. Another mind-blowing story comes from 2021, when a woman in Florida found a 1963 penny in a thrift store coin jar, mixed in with other, worthless, change. She took it to a coin show on a whim, and after verification, it sold for $28 million. She used the money to start a foundation for underprivileged kids, turning a single penny into a legacy of hope. Can you picture being that person, sifting through junk and stumbling across a fortune? It's the kind of thing that keeps collectors up at night, dreaming of the next big find. The 1963 Lincoln penny is proof that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable value, that history can hide a treasure in plain sight. It's a reminder to look closer, to check your change, to never assume a penny is just a penny. This is the grand finale, the coin that crowns them all, and its story is a testament to the magic of collecting, the idea that a single moment of curiosity could rewrite your future. Let's dive deeper into the history. 1963 was also the year the U.S. Mint was transitioning to new technologies, which made errors like this even rarer. The transitional die was a leftover from a proof coin run, a mistake that shouldn't have happened but did, creating a coin so unique it's like a fingerprint in the numismatic world. Collectors talk about these pennies in hushed tones, like they're discussing a lost treasure map. And the stories don't stop. In 2010, a man in New Mexico found one in a roll of pennies from a gas station. He thought it was a fake at first, but after authentication, it sold for $8 million. That gas station penny paid for his kid's college and a world cruise for his family. The 1963 Lincoln penny isn't just about the money, it's about the dream, the possibility that something so small could hold so much power. It's a call to action for every one of us to slow down, look closer, and believe in the magic of the unexpected. So, grab your change jar, dust off that magnifying glass, and start hunting, because the next $50 million penny might be waiting for you to find it, ready to rewrite your story with a single, shining moment of discovery.